From where the West begins in Fort Worth, Texas, to around the globe, you are listening to Talk in the Night. I'm your host, Paranormal Phil, and later on in the show tonight, we're going to open up the phone lines where you, the listeners, can call in, share your stories, experiences, or even ask a question. It don't have to be about the paranormal. It can be about just about anything. Of course, if I don't know the answer, I'll tell you I don't know the answer, but there's a lot that I've learned in the almost 45 years I've been on this planet, in this body. And if you've heard my show about reincarnation and everything and my belief on it, you know what I'm talking about. But before we get into the open lines and I give out the phone numbers to call in, up on the Talk in the Night website, under the story of the day, Earth has 2 extra hidden moons. Earth's moon may not be alone. After more than a half a century of speculation and controversy, Hungarian astronomer and physicists say they have finally confirmed the existence of 2 Earth-orbiting moons entirely made out of dust. As they described in the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, the team managed to capture a snapshot of the mysterious cloud lurking just 250,000 miles away, roughly the same distance as the moon. Researchers previously inferred the presence of multiple natural companions to Earth, but the dust clouds weren't exactly seen until 1961, when their namesake, Polish astronomer Kazimierz Korlowski, got a glimpse. Even then, their presence was still questioned. The Korlowski cloud are 2 of the toughest objects to find through, and though they are as close to Earth as the moon, are largely overlooked by researchers in astronomy, says study co-author Judith Slizbalov. And I'm going to butcher this university's name next, because I've already butchered these other names. An astronomer at Eötvös Lorád University in Hungary. I don't know how to pronounce it, so please forgive me if I pronounced it wrong. I'm not even going to try. It is intriguing to confirm that our planet has dusty pseudo-satellites in orbit alongside our lunar neighbor. Now, you can click on the link to the story on the Talk in the Night website at talkinthe.night.weebly.com, and you can read it for yourself. So let's get into open lines where you, the listeners, can call in, share your stories, experiences, or questions. And I'm going to share this on Facebook real quick, just to let people know that I am on the air. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to give out the phone number to call in if you want to call into the show. The numbers to call in are by Skype, by typing in the Skype name Talk in the Night, all one word. Just plain out Talk in the Night, and by phone at 817-717-5561. Also, if you're on the Spreaker website and want to pop in the chat, there's a little chat bubble on the live broadcast where you can pop in the chat, say hello, ask a question, share your stories, experiences in there as well. So we are live right now. The show is on the air. Now, of course, this show is being heard on not only Spreaker.com, but Also, tune in, iHeartRadio, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube. I think there's one other, which of course I haven't got a chance to post all of them, and I'm going to get the show up on other sites as well to boost my audience. But if you are listening, tell your friends, tell your family, let them know that I am on the air and to tune in, because this show might help them in some way. So, let's get into my first question here as soon as I get to it. Sorry. Now, of course, when we have open lines, sometimes I get callers, sometimes I don't. So I go to other places where there is questions that I can answer and everything like that. Now, let's get into this one. The person asks, anyone have knowledge of demonology? And here's the question, the root of the question. Okay, I've dealt with the paranormal phenomenon all my life, including demons. When I was a boy, teen, and young man, I have always had fear when dealing with demonic forces. In my mid-30s, this changed, and my response to demonic phenomenon became fearless and very combative, chasing the demonic entities off. But now I have no reaction at all to demonic presence. Should I be worried that when confronting demonic activity, now that I show no reaction whatsoever, and what would this mean? Please educated answers or answers from experience only. Now, of course, I've been in the paranormal field for almost 30 years, and I've studied the paranormal since I was 5 years old, so it's nothing new to me. Now, as far as dealing with these darker entities, of course, if you heard the show, I don't believe in demons, but I believe in a darker entity. And I've cleansed homes of these things before. And, of course, when I go into a location, not only do I show no fear, because these things have no power over me when I show no fear. I also go into the location protected with a white light and I mean the purest white light. If you heard last night's show, I was talking to Dr. Joye Pugh as we were talking about, I'm trying to find it here. Trying to find my show here, because I could have swore I posted about being live, but I guess not. So I'm going to just do this real quick. But as I was saying, I talked about going into a location showing no fear, but also at the same time, I was protected with the brightest white light that you could imagine. And these things ran from me because of it. Now, not everybody can do this kind of work. Not everybody has the ability to go into a location and deal with these darker forces, these darker entities, demons, whatever you want to call them. Not everybody can do this. I mean, excuse me, for me, I have been actually called in before any Catholic priest before to do this kind of stuff, to get rid of these entities. And I can tell you, my results are astounding. I've been in many locations where these things just run because, like I said in last night's show, or Joy was saying that God, Jesus Christ, they created the pure, God did, created the purest white light. Now, of course, when we see light, we see most of it through a spectrum of colors, like looking at a crystal, and the light shining through, and it breaks up into the different colors. Well, that's the spectrum we see here in color, but that pure white light is not seen by us. But these entities, these darker entities, these demons, whatever, they see that bright white light and they hate it. They will run from it immensely. I want to welcome Nicole to the chat room. Like I said, in the chat room, you can ask a question in there. You can share your stories, experiences also in there. Or you can call into the show. The phone lines will be open the full 2 hours. Okay, I was just reading something here. Now, Nicole said, I tend to hear darker entities as well as good ones, but the darker entities always scare me. And of course, yes, people are going to be afraid of these things, but as I was reading in that question where the person, let me find out what the word he actually used here, no reaction at all to these presences. And that alone could be a bad thing, because I want to answer this question. And I don't suggest anybody deal with these things unless they know exactly what they're doing, where they've had plenty of years of training, knowledge on handling stuff like this. Of course, I didn't learn it overnight. It took many years for me to learn how to get rid of these things. And it was a lot of work with my spirit guides, learning all that I can about the paranormal, and also learning to get rid of all my fears. Because just the slightest bit of fear, like Nicole has a fear of spiders, just that little bit of fear, they will feed off of it. Think about Freddy Krueger and when we were talking about lucid dreaming on Thursday night. And you have a nightmare and you have that little fear, that alone is going to feed off of it and create that fear in your mind to where you will have no ability to get rid of these darker entities. Excuse me. All right, so once again, the phone lines are open. If you want to call in, share your stories, experiences, or even ask a question, feel free to do so. The Spreaker chat is open when you sign up for a Spreaker account, which is free. You can click on the show, listen live, click on the chat room, pop in there, let me know you're listening. Also, if you're going to sign up for a Spreaker account, be sure to follow the show by clicking on follow, like, and stuff like that to let me know that you like this show. Because without you listeners, I have no show. So I think every single one of you that listen to this show, because you keep me going. Now, of course, the only people that I can really notice listening to the show are those that are in the Spreaker chat. But, like I said, the other websites the show is on, I know I'm getting listeners. I just haven't figured out a way to figure out how many listeners I got on those other sites. But I will try and figure that out this weekend or pretty soon. So Nicole asked in the chat room, can they manifest those fears to make you fearful? And of course, I've never been in that situation, but I believe that because it is pure energy, the spirits are pure energy, that they could possibly manifest it, or if not, actually manipulate the actual, like if you have a fear of spiders, they can actually kind of manipulate these animals to appear. Now, of course, don't shoot me for my opinion. This is just my thoughts on it. But again, I've never had to face that situation because I go into these locations with the purest white light and no fear at all. I mean, I'm actually more afraid of humans than I am the spirit world and in the darkest spirit world of the spirit world. But even humans, I have no fear, because the moment you show fear is the moment they're going to feed off it. So let's get into another question here. Once again, the phone lines are open if you want to call in. Share your stories, experiences, or questions. Now, there was another question I was looking at earlier, trying to... all right, there it is. It says, can anyone that knows the paranormal help me? And here's the root of the question. When I was a teenager, my family was going through a rough patch with money, so we stayed with my grandparents on the lower level or basement floor. Me, my sister, and it says me sister, but I think it meant my sister and I would usually hang out by the washing machine so we had some sort of privacy. Anyways, we both saw the exact same figure and it spooked us. We both explained it as a shadow figure with a hat and trench coat. So, fast forward 4 years later, I hadn't seen it since or thought about it until my grandpa mentioned seeing a figure with a hat and trench coat in the basement. Neither me or my sister mentioned what we saw to him before. Does anyone have some sort of explanation or similar experience? This whole thing has me a bit shaken up. Thank you in advance. All right. So the shadow figure and everything like that you are seeing, and I'm not going to do readings, but I might actually open up myself a little bit to the spirit world so that way I can get some answers for you. Just enough to get those answers, not enough to have hundreds of them coming through. But I'm just listening to the spirits right now. I'm getting that this actually is a passing spirit. It's just passing through. Now, that, of course, that's what I'm getting from the spirit world. Now, I can't tell you how it... I'm getting these answers, but Nicole says maybe it was Hatman. Now, there are shadow figures that have that same explanation, like Nicole said, Hatman. But from what I'm getting from the spirit world, this was a spirit from the 1920s. Yeah, 1920s, mid to late 1920s. That of course, that wear was kind of around back then, but it was just a passing spirit. So that's what I'm getting from the spirit world. Again, I'm not doing any readings for anybody. It just takes too long. If you want a reading, contact me. I will give you a good price on a reading. I will do it for you. Just not while I'm live on the air. So let's get into... Now, there have been people that want to get into the paranormal field, and I want to get into some of the stuff that we go through as paranormal investigators that you might not see by watching the TV shows and such. Because on the TV shows, you're only seeing 1 hour of what it takes to go through a whole investigation. When I started out in the paranormal field, we didn't go right to a location and start investigating. That's not how it happened. We, of course, went out, interviewed the client, got all the information that we could before we actually did any kind of investigation, because we did not want to go into a location without knowing something was there. Now, of course, I didn't handle the questionnaires often, because when I go into a location, I don't want to know what is going on there until I actually get there and let my own abilities do their job. I don't want to be corrupted by what is told to me, is what I'm saying. So, like I was saying, we do the pre-investigation interview, get information like, how long has this been going on? Where has it been seen? How often does this happen? I got a whole list of questions still on my computer somewhere that we would ask, and I'm not going to try and search it down tonight because I didn't think to pull that up. But we went through about 40 or 50 questions before we even determined whether we were going to come back for an investigation or not. Now, of course, that wasn't the only part of the pre-investigation. We would do also a walkthrough, and that's when I would come in, because through the walkthrough, well, let's put it this way. The people that did the interview questions, they did a walkthrough separate from me, because the person was telling them this is where the spirit was seen and what was seen and everything like that. Again, I don't want to know what's going on, so I let them go through And then I have the same client take me through, and just so I don't get lost, but not say a word to me. And I let my own abilities take hold and tell me that okay, let's use an example. I'm in a home, I'm walking through a bedroom, and as soon as I walk into a room, I feel this very heavy feeling. Now, nobody told me anything about that because, I didn't want to know. But I let my abilities do their job to say, okay, there is some kind of activity or there's no activity. Maybe it's just, you probably heard the term fear cage, where a lot of not electronical, but high power lines are in a building or nearby, create that fear cage feeling that something is there. And of course, it can actually make you see something that is not there, which is called pareidolia. And I probably pronounced that word wrong, but it's basically seeing, our eyes are seeing something that is not there. Now, and I'm going to finish going into what it takes to go through an investigation before I get into the first break of the night. But once the pre-investigation is done, the walkthrough, the questionnaire, and we say we determine that there is something there, then we set another time to come back. We'll set up all our equipment where we have picked up during the previous pre-investigation. We'll set up cameras, digital recorders, all this kind of equipment, which of course comes out of our own pockets. And that usually takes, depending on the size of the location, like David's house, it took us a good 2 hours to set up. I think it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think close to 16 cameras. 2 hours to do in that home. Now it depends on how many cameras you're using, the layout of the location, the size of the location. If you're doing a small location, you maybe only need 1 or 2 cameras, or even a handheld camera. But when you're doing a bigger location and you got these infrared security cameras that can see in complete darkness, it takes a while running all those wires. Now, once you've gotten all that set up, the investigation, a typical investigation, or at least a good investigation, takes anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. Mostly 6. Sometimes people do it in 3, like Zach Baggins. Sorry, it was a whole... You'll have to talk to David Ullman about that. That was an inside joke about Zach and the Ullman house. But on typical investigation, it takes 6 hours to do the investigation. Now, of course, when you're sitting there, you might or might not get something on a digital recorder or a camera. There have been many times that I've sat in a dark location by myself, just me and that digital recorder, for like 30 minutes. And that whole 30 minutes, nothing. There have been other times when I'm getting all kinds of things, K2 meters going off, disembodied voices on the digital recorder. So no, even if you determine during the pre-investigation that the house is haunted, does not mean that you're going to get something. But I'm going to continue my thought on that after the first commercial break, which we're going into now. And of course, when we come back, we're going to also give a listener one lucky chance to win a book by Dr. Joye Pugh. We'll be right back.
Voices in my head know me, call me. I will be restless. Somehow they chose me. This is my nightlife. Wanna be high life. I feel so reckless. Calling them all night. I'm calling.
Are you a ghost hunter or paranormal enthusiast and need equipment to go out and investigate locations that have spirit activity? Well, GhostStop.com has all the equipment that you will need. They have a Boo Buddy ghost hunting kit for $169.95, or how about a Keep Calm and Ghost Hunt t-shirt for $19.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talking Tonight website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs. Do you have a paranormal team? Are you a small-time author? Do you have a radio show that you would like to promote? Is there anything that you would like to get the word out there about but don't have a big budget? Well, Talking the Night has an opportunity for you to sponsor the show without breaking your wallet. Contact the show at talkingthenight@outlook.com or on the show's website or Facebook page for more details. Do you think you have a haunted or cursed object? Well, Nicole Gaspard does, and in her book Haunted Vessels and Cursed Objects, she talks about her continued paranormal and supernatural ghost encounters, haunted dolls, and other items that are supposed to be haunted or cursed. Pick up your copy today on Amazon.com.
I've called 1,000 times to tell you I'm sorry for everything that I've done, but when I call you, never seem to be home. Hello from the outside.
To call into the show, Skype Talking the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now back to Talking the Night with more of your open line phone calls. Okay, and we are back. Now, before I run the contest for Dr. Joye Pugh's book, I'm going to finish my thought on the whole thing as far as the whole way of going through an investigation. Now, as I was saying before the break, 6 hours of doing the investigation. Sometimes you'll get something, sometimes you won't. After that, there is packing up all that stuff. Now, that packing up, running all those wires that you did earlier, rolling them up, packing everything up, takes a good hour to do, depending on the location again. So, of course, that same night, you do not tell the client what you got because, I mean, you might be able to let them hear a quick snippet here and there or show them something. But what we would do is take all that stuff back. Each person had their own kind of way of, or not own way of doing things, but they had their own section to do. They had their own part to do in the investigation. Somebody would do the EVPs, listen to long hours of recordings. Some would go through the video footage and spend hours watching that video footage for each camera and stuff like that. And it would take probably about a week or more to go through all that and clear up anything that might be like, okay, say there is a mist forming, but was that mist part of a terrestrial explanation like fog in a canyon or something like that? Or was that something paranormal? We have to look at every single thing before we say it is paranormal, or at least that's how I ran my group. And then once we spent a week or two of going through all that evidence, then it was compiled, sent to the head of the group, which I was the head of PRT Paranormal Talk before I co-founded SRC Paranormal with Steve Hembry and Jacob Cadena. Of course, we're all retired from the field and we don't do investigations anymore. But getting back to my point is it would all be sent to me. And of course, I would go back to the client, maybe with somebody else from the team, and show them the evidence that we got, like EVPs, video of something strange happening. So that is what an investigation takes to put on. Now, as far as like the Omen House, we had, I think, close to 24 cameras at one point. And of course, each investigation took 6 hours for the people to go through the house. But the cameras were already set up. The people, all they had to do was go for the seance or investigate it with tools that we provided, like K2 meters or something like that, or if they brought their own equipment. But I spent the whole time of that investigation, or at least most of the time, outside watching 16 to 24 cameras at the same time, which is a difficult task in itself. And that's another thing when you're doing an investigation, especially if you got a lot of cameras. That cameraman is watching several different cameras. Now, sometimes you might see an extra person helping that person watch these cameras. And from time to time, I would have somebody out there helping me watch them. But most of the time, I was watching all 16 to 24 cameras at the same time. So sometimes I might have missed something, and that's where the investigators chime in as far as, okay, this happened in this location at this time, because we would tell people, let us know what you experienced, what time, what location, so I could go back and review that camera footage from that section. But if nobody let me know, it was up to me to find what was going on, especially if nobody was in the room, which is difficult. But like I said, it took, I want to say, from start and I'm talking about the pre-investigation all the way to the evidence review, I want to say most of the time about a month turnaround just for that. So if you think about getting into the paranormal field, please understand that this stuff doesn't happen all the time in locations, but it takes a lot of work. And of course, do not charge money for doing investigation, because we did it out of our own pockets, our own time. And the reason why I say don't do it for money is because then that person can come back and say, well, whatever they caught, they did it for the money. They altered it, something like that. Now, if you don't take any money and they say that, well, hey, we had nothing to gain or lose here, and we would not want to, our integrity was too much to alter any of these sounds or images. So we did not take money. We had one time where a person offered $300 for doing the investigation and cleansing the home. I went out and said, don't give that to us. Give that to the Loma Linda Ronald McDonald House for Children and donate it in our name, just so that way it went to charity to help kids rather than us, because we were doing it to help the client. But if they're going to give us money, donate it to a good cause. That's what we did. Now, I can't speak for other groups or other people, but that's what we did. Okay, so now that I got all that out of the way, here is the contest for Dr. Joye Pugh's book. And here is how it's going to work. The first person to be the caller number 5. You have to call into the show to win. You can't pop in the chat room. Can't let me know on Facebook. Nothing like that. You must be caller number 5 to win the book. If you get caller number 1, well, hang up, try again, try to get in. Caller number 5 gets the book. So the numbers to call in are almost gave an old cell phone number of mine. I'm sorry. Talk in the Night on Skype, all one word, Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. Again, caller number 5 gets the book. So while we're waiting to see if we're going to get any calls, I'm going to actually go into another question about investigating, because I covered a lot of investigating questions just on that one thing. But if you caller number 5, you will win Dr. Joye Pugh's book, Antichrist, the Clone Image of Jesus Christ. If nobody wins this week, I'll try to give it next week. If nobody calls in. Like I said, it's last time I gave away a book, somebody got it, but they typed it in the chat. So I said, I'll give that away because they answered it correctly in the chat room rather than call. But I want people to call, so we're going to take caller number 5. You're on the air, caller number 1. Try again. All right. That's how it's going to work. I'm not going to answer you or anything like that. I'm going to say caller number 1, caller number 2, till I get to caller number 5, and then I will answer. Again, you must be caller number 5 to win the book. The phone lines are open now, so let's see. I'm going to actually share this because I'm going to give people a chance to call into the show and win this book, because I want to give this book away as well as the next book that I'm going to talk about after the top of the hour break, which is Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways. But right now, we are giving away Dr. Joye Pugh's book, Antichrist, the clone image of Jesus Christ. Just trying to share this while I'm waiting for callers. Again, don't be frightened to call in. I promise you, I will not send the darker entities after you because you didn't call in. No. And of course, my headset's messing up a little bit. But if you want to win Dr. Joye Pugh's book, Antichrist, the clone image of Jesus Christ, be caller number 5. I'm on caller number 1 already. You can try again, Nicole. You got to be caller number 5. That's as simple as that. Once I hang up on you and say caller number 1, try again. Try again. You don't have to just be like, oh man, I was caller 1. No, I'm never going to get in. Now, once I get more people calling into the show and everything like that, it's going to be even harder to call in and win the book. So while I got this unlimited amount of call space where people can actually call in and don't have to time constrict a lot of it, you have a chance to call in. But when the show grows to the point where I'm having caller after caller and I'm working on getting it there, it's going to be harder. So try to call in again. Caller number 5 gets Dr. Joye's book. So let's see, getting back to this, I want to share this real quick, and then I'm going to get into another aspect of investigating. Now, if you are just tuning in and did not hear the numbers to call in, the numbers to call in are by Skype at Talk in the Night or by phone at 817-717-5561. You'll have till the end of this segment of the show. Next commercial break, I'm going to give people a chance to win Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways. So if you want to win Dr. Joye's book, call in. You're not going to win the book by just sitting on the sidelines. Call on into the show and try to win that book. All right, so another question into investigations. Now, I get this a lot from people that are thinking their own group, or starting their own group, what advice I could give them because I've been in the field so long. And my suggestion is always find a local team near you that will allow you to join them on an investigation. I'm not talking about join the group. I'm talking about as a guest person to go on an investigation and learn for yourself what it all takes. Now, the Omen House is a good experience when he does those things, but as you don't get to experience having to set up the cameras, going through the pre-investigation or anything like that. This is why I say join a local group, a reputable group at that. So, if they charge money, that's a no. Don't join that group. Now, if they're putting on like a special event, like at a location, yeah, you can charge money for that. But as far as a private investigation, if they charge money for that, just walk away from it. So I'm going to type here in the chat room real quick. Again, I'm giving away the book. 10 minutes left until we go into the break at the top of the hour, and you don't get a chance to win Dr. Joy's book until next Friday night. So, and I don't want to have to give away 3 books next Friday, so be sure to call in. I guarantee you these books you'll enjoy. You'll be able to understand more by reading this. Now, of course, I'm not a big reader, but I learned by doing. But if you like books, I guarantee these books are a good read. All right, let's get caller number 2 on there. You're caller 2. Try again. Again, simple as that. I'm not going to... You got to be caller number 5. I mean, as soon as I hang up, try again. Don't wait. Try again. Because you never know. There might be 100 callers, and I'm not getting any calls, so except for those 2 callers. So try again. Like I said, don't leave me hanging. I know you're listening. Don't be afraid. I know a lot of people that are afraid of talking about the paranormal, and of course, back when I started in the paranormal field, even at the age of 5, it was something that wasn't widely talked about, and people would criticize people. But with all these TV shows out there, then it's brought light to the field, and people have a more understanding about these kind of things. And I'm not talking about just ghosts and spirits. I'm talking about ancient aliens, UFOs, cryptozoology, Bigfoot, mermaids, Loch Ness Monster, Mothman, the Anunnaki, whatever. People have awoken to this field because of the TV shows that were put out there. Now, of course, when I started in the paranormal field back in the early 90s, of course, the equipment that is out there nowadays was not available. We had a regular camera where we had to actually turn the little thing just to snap a photo, a 35 millimeter camera. Now there are digital cameras where we can take it and upload it right to our computers. We got digital recorders that can plug into our computers and upload it from there. Back then we had one of those big old bulky tape recorders, and we had blank tapes, and we had to put them in there, hit record, and actually play it back and listen to it while we were doing it, unless we had plenty of tapes where we could go through the whole investigation and actually go back and listen to all those tapes. But the way we saved money was using the same tape, playing it after we did a little session, see if we heard anything, rewind it, re-record over it. That's how we did things back then. Again, nowadays there is everything digital in this world where we can upload it right on the spot. However, with that technology, there is also the ability to manipulate the images, manipulate the audio. And if you're going to manipulate those things, don't get into this field, because you might lie to somebody and they might think they got something. Well, let's put it this way. Say they have something that's of a darker nature, but you kind of lied to, manipulated the image and where there's nothing there, and make them think it's a good spirit. Then they're going to think it's a good spirit, good energy entity, when it's actually something dark. Now, Nicole says, I still use Polaroid camera, but I think digital is more quicker. Yes, it is more quicker, but again, it's easier manipulated. Now, if you want to call in and win Dr. Joy's book, call in now, because I only got 4 minutes before I take the break. We're on caller number 2, caller number 3, caller number 4, and then caller number 5. If we do not get to caller number 5, we'll give away the book, or try to give it away next week. I want to give away these books. So be sure to call into the show. Don't be afraid or anything like that. Call into the show. You don't have to mention anything. Like I said, once you call into the show, I'm going to say caller number 3. Try again. Hang up. Then I'll do the same thing for caller number 4. Caller number 4, try again. Hang up. Once I get to caller number 5, then I'll ask who's on the line, and I will tell you to send me a message on Facebook, unless you're in the Spreaker chat and you want to give out that information in the chat room. But I will, for the most part, I'll tell you, send me a message on the Talking Tonight Facebook page or the show's website with your contact information, and I will get that to Dr. Joye Pugh, and she'll get that book out to you. So 2 minutes. We got 3 callers left. Try again, quick. Again, if you want to win the book, you got to call. There is no winning it by send me a message on Facebook. You have to call into the show. Same way with the next book that I'm going to give away in the next hour. You must call in to win it. And again, tell your friends, tell your families about the show. Spread the word about Talking the Night. Now, of course, before the ice went live, and we're going to go to caller number 3. You are caller number 3. Try again. We got about 2 minutes left. So call into the show and try and win it. We got 1 minute left. We got still 2 callers left to go. If you want, try again. Because once I hit the thing for a commercial break, your chances of winning the book have gone. Or at least this book for this week. You'll have to try and win it next Friday night. So, if you're going to call in, you must be caller number 5. And let me type this in. All right, so, okay, I'm going to give you 1 extra minute to call in because I was typing in the chat room. If you want to be the winner of the book, you must call in. I got 2 more callers. I still got caller number 4 and 5. If you want to win the book, you must call in to win. Caller number 4, you try again. All right, so I'm going to give it, when my clock says 11:01 on my computer for the show, that's when I'm going to take my commercial break. So if you're going to win the book, you must call in. And you're running out of time. Come on, I got 1 more caller. That's all I need. Caller number 5, and you win the book. All right, here we go. We got a winner for the book. You're caller number 5. Who's on there?
Hey, Nicole.
Hey, Nicole. Well, you're going to get the book by Dr. Joye Pugh. I will send send me your contact information, and I will send it off to Dr. Joye Pugh, where she'll send you the book. So we do have a winner for the book, Antichrist, the clone image of Jesus Christ. Again, next hour, we're going to give away Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways, and you must call in like you did there and to win the book. So we're at the top of the hour, but we'll be back with more of your open lines and questions, stories, and experiences.
My head is heavy, let me lay it down. Into your lap I would love to drown. I need that story I used to hear, to run on into and disappear. I won't lie down and I won't, I won't lie down, and I can't do this without you. I won't lie down and I won't, I won't lie down, and I can't do this without you. Your stories, they come from the heart, glue me together and tear me apart.
Do you have a talk radio, Facebook Live, or YouTube show and would like guests for your show but don't know where to go to get them? Well, go to radioguestlist.com and sign up today. They have all different experts in different fields, and you can find the ones that are just right for your show. That's radioguestlist.com. Sign up today. It's free.
If you like finding out about different things in the paranormal field, such as ghost stories, haunted locations, UFOs, cryptozoology, and much more, well, check out Into the Paranormal on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe to the channel. Videos are posted once a week. Are you a ghost hunter or paranormal enthusiast and need equipment to go out and investigate locations that have spirit activity? Well, GhostStop.com has all the equipment that you will need. They have a Boo Buddy ghost hunting kit for $169.95, or how about a Keep Calm and Ghost Hunt t-shirt for $19.95. Click on the banner ad at the top of the Talking Tonight website and get shopping today. GhostStop.com, your one-stop shop for all your ghost hunting needs.
Don't hold me back. God knows I've been through this before. I can taste it in the air, and it leaves me wanting more. You crossed me once, it's left a bitter taste, and now you push me, I won't tear
call into the show, Skype, Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now back to Talk in the Night with more of your open line phone calls. Okay, and we are back from the commercial break, and of course we had a winner of Dr. Joye's book, Dr. Joye Pugh's book, Antichrist, the clone image of Jesus Christ. Now, I'm going to answer one more question, and then we're going to give away Nicole Gaspard's book in this segment of the show up until the next commercial break. After the next commercial break, it swings over to the next week's. I would like to give away both books tonight if I can, so please call in when I tell you to call in for the show and win the book. So let's get into a quick question, then we're gonna go into, as course, the chance to win the book. Now, if you want to call into the show and share your stories, experiences, or even ask a question, and again, it don't have to be about the paranormal, it can be about anything. The phone lines are open. The number to call in is by Skype at Talk in the Night or by phone at 817-717-5561. Again, to win the book, when I mentioned to call in for the book, you must be caller number 5. When I answer the call and say caller number 1, try again, try calling again real quick. Don't wait. Don't wait like that last call, those callers did. Don't wait. Call right back, because you never know. Something might happen to where like 20 people line up to call in to the show and try and win. But only caller number 5 is going to win the book. So let's get into something a little more different besides the paranormal. And we're going to talk about a news story that actually happened out in California with a mentally disturbed veteran fired upon 12 people that were, well, they fired upon more than 12 people, but 12 people were killed in this event. And of course, he suffered from PTSD, which a lot of veterans do experience when they come back from a traumatic war experience. Now, there have been people that I've seen that say they don't deserve a veteran status because they did this horrible act. Well, for those people that say that kind of stuff, I say this: you try going off to war, seeing that stuff. Now, yes, there are people that have PTSD and don't go out and commit these horrible and horrendous acts, but to say they're not veterans because of they did this, understand, walk a mile in us veterans' shoes. Understand that we gave up everything. Sometimes we gave up all. And I'm talking about those that died in action or got severely injured to where they lost limbs in action. Walk a mile in our shoes and understand what we go through. And of course, next week, we're going to have shows on all veterans, where we're going to be talking about different topics for veterans, which I'm going to get into after the next commercial break in the last half hour of the show. But we're going to get into that. But again, don't say the veteran because he did that horrible act. And I don't condone that act at all. But to say that the person is not a veteran because he did this, that's not the right answer. I mean, he obviously went through some traumatic experience. Now, of course, we don't have all the answers, so let's get all the answers first before we start passing judgment. Because as we were talking last night with Dr. Joye Pugh, talking about God and the Bible and everything, and I was talking about how these people that are of the Christian faith like to tear down somebody like me because I practice a different religion. I'm part of a different religion, or I do ghost investigations. But as Dr. Joyce said, the Bible is a book about the paranormal. If you think about it, I mean, it's got spirits, it's got UFOs in it, giants, stuff like that. And if you look at it that, then, of course, you can understand that there's a lot more to this world and our existence than what you're led to believe or told to believe. Now, I try to keep an open mind and understand different aspects of things. So, again, don't pass judgment because you are not perfect. Simple as that. All right, so I'm just checking something real quick. So, if you want to win Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways. Oh, wait, let's see. Oh, okay. I'm just... All right. So I tagged somebody in the post about my podcast or my show, and it creates confusion. So I won't tag him in the post again. I apologize for that. I was just trying to get the word out there by tagging people because I'm trying to grow my show. And if you don't want me to share it on your or tag you in the post, just let me know. I won't do it again. Simple as that. I'm just trying to grow my show. Now, let's get into giving away Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways, in this half hour. And the numbers to call in are 951. Again, I'm thinking of old numbers. I got so much knowledge in my head that sometimes it overlaps. So sometimes I have to quiet my mind and think of what I'm saying before I say it. But to win the book, you must call in. The numbers to call in are by Skype at Talk in the Night or by phone at 817-717-5561. Now, all right, so let's get into another question. Now, caller number 5 will win that book, but you must call into the show to win. So let's get into a different question that is not paranormal related. So I talked about the veteran thing. Let's get into a little something about dating and relationships, which I've been through quite a few bad situations in dating relationships. I've been through plenty of them that I know what I got some experience in them. So we're going to get into that. Let's find a good question here. No. Wait a minute. Let's see. I'm trying to find a really good question here, and everything like that. Right. Here's a good question. And of course, I've never been married myself. I've always waited for the right one to come along, because my parents were married 37 years up until their death. They stayed together up to death, 37 years. Now, of course, I think my dad was married before, but once he married my mom, they were together for 37 years. And that is the kind of relationship, the love that I am seeking in mine. Now, of course, that's not for everybody. Everybody's got a different way of thinking nowadays. They just want to go from woman to woman or man to man, and that's them. That's what they want to do, but not me. But here's the question. It says, your opinion, marriage first or living together first? Now it says, my boyfriend and I disagree on the subject. He thinks we should get married before we live together. I say we should live together before we get married. My personal belief is to really know him before I commit to life to him forever. The only way you can really know a person is by living with them. What do you think? Now, I've lived with somebody before that I spent 10 years in the relationship. I was engaged to this woman, and something went wrong, not on my end. It was hers, but I did live with this person. It was a toxic relationship, and I've talked about toxic relationships with a guest on my show before. I think I actually did a rebroadcast shortly after restarting the show with when I did that show with her. I think it was back in February. It was about the laws of attraction, attracting the right person and everything like that. That was with Kelly Cooper, which I'm going to bring on the show again as soon as I find her information. Bring her back on the show, especially around Valentine's Day, because I want to talk about stuff like that. But I want to get her back on the show and talk about stuff like this, because this show is not just about the paranormal. It's about every single topic out there. Now, the only topics I will not discuss are sports and music. And, of course, anything explicit. Leave that for another show. But music, there's copyright issues when you speak about music or play music, unless the artist gives you permission or you buy the rights. All my songs that I use for the show are non-copyright music. So that way I'm not getting hit with huge fines for using the music. And also, before the show, I was actually, speaking of music, I was listening to a song that Art Bell used for his show, which is Midnight in the Desert by Crystal Gale. She actually wrote that song for Art Bell and his show, and for Coast to Coast AM and his show Midnight in the Desert, because he was living out in the middle of the desert in Pahrump, Nevada, until he moved to Manila, Philippines for a while, and then back to his home in Pahrump, Nevada, where he eventually passed away, which, like I said, Art Bell gave me the inspiration to be a talk radio host. And I still use that to this day, that inspiration to continue to do this show. So get back to what I was talking about. And again, if you want to win Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways, you must be caller number 5 for anybody tuning in late. You still have 10 minutes to call into the show at Talk in the Night on Skype or by phone at 817-717-5561. Caller number 5 gets the book. Now, get back to the whole relationship thing of living together or marriage first. Now, of course, this is going to be my opinion and just my opinion alone. It's up to each of us that are in a relationship to decide what's going to work. But if you're in a relationship, you need to make that decision together. Don't be like, okay, this is my thought, this is your thought, it's not going to work. Discuss it. I mean, if you got one opinion like this question here, where he has the thought of being married before living together, and she's got the opinion of living together before they get married, talk about what they should talk about what they like about each other's opinion, their own decision, their own thing. See if that's going to work out. If it doesn't, then quite possibly that person is not the right person for you. And my headset is cutting out a little bit, so I wanted to fix that real quick. So again, discuss that and see what the other person says. Now, I'm not going to say that it is a toxic relationship, but here's my opinion on it. I think people should live together because before they get married, it don't have to be long, it don't have to be years, but I think people should live together before getting married, because then you get to see how the other person reacts when you're around, rather than when you're separated by even a short distance, like even across the street or next door. You're still separated by that distance, and the only time you see the other person, how they truly are, is when you're together. And the only way to see how they are on a daily basis, day after day, is by living with them. I'm not saying, saying live together for about 5 or 10 years together before deciding to get married, because you can always use the time of dating as the time of getting to know the person. And and let me mention this, before you go jumping into living with somebody, get to know them a little more. Now, that I made that mistake before myself and dated a woman for a very short period of time before moving in with her, and we did not know each other well enough to do that, but we did also know each other well enough to do that. And of course, we were friends before we started dating. But it was a toxic relationship. But it was good for a while. Again, this is just my opinion. It's up to you whether you want to take my advice and use it for yourself. But again, I what I do with this show is open people's minds to the different possibilities, to think outside the box, not think what you're told, but to think outside the box. Think of other possibilities. What could be different? What might work different? Stuff like that. Think outside the box. Don't conform to what you are told. Now, again, we got 5 minutes left for you to call in and win Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways. You must call in tonight while we are live. If you listen to this show any other time while it's recorded, you don't win the book. You must call in. That's why I want people to tune in, listen to the show live, because that's the only way you're going to win these books that I'm giving away, because I am putting it out there for my guests to give you, the listeners, something. And if you're not going to take advantage of that, then what's the point of me trying to get the guests to give away something if you're not going to take it? So this is why I'm trying to get people to tune into the show. All right, we got caller number 1. You are caller number 1. Try again if you're trying for the book, or did you have a story or experience to share?
I would for the book.
Okay, try again. All right, so again, we got 3 minutes left. Try it again. All right. You are caller number 2. Try again. I'm not going to just ask if they want to share a story experience, because we're running out of time. Just want to get this book giveaway. You are caller number 3. Try again. Again, I want to give away this book. I don't want to pass it over to another week. All right, you're caller number 4. Try again. One more caller to go, and if we get that caller in the next 3 minutes, you win Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways. All right, so we got caller number 5. Here we go. You are caller number 5. Who's on the air?
My name is Kat.
Hello, Kat. You are caller number 5, and you have won Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways.
Wonderful.
All right, so what you're going to do is go to Talk of the Night on Facebook, send me a message with an email address, and I will get that book out to, or get the information to Nicole, and she'll get that book right out to you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, so it's just that simple. Now, of course, next week, we had, or before I get into next week, we had Nicole win Dr. Joye Pugh's book, Antichrist, the clone image of Jesus Christ. And, of course, we had Kat win Nicole Gaspard's book. After a few weeks of trying to give it away, we give it away tonight. Nicole Gaspard's book, Dark Pathways. So thank you, listeners. You make this possible to do this show. Now, again, I know of things, of other topics beside the paranormal. As I'm not strictly stuck to the paranormal. Now, I do have a lot of experience in the paranormal, so yeah, I can answer that thing. But of course, after the commercial break, we're gonna be just having open lines where you can call in, share your stories, experiences, or questions. If we don't get any calls about that, I got plenty of other questions loaded up here that I can look at and answer. So, or if you want, pop in the Spreaker chat. Go to Spreaker.com, sign up for our account. It's free. You don't have to if I can talk. You don't have to do a broadcast, a podcast, or anything like that. Just sign up for our account. Be sure to follow Talk in the Night, and on the player, there's a chat bubble. Click on that chat bubble, pop in the chat room. Let me know you're listening, because it's the only one that I can see how many people are listening. And I do interact with the listeners on Spreaker. Now, of course, the show is on TuneIn, iTunes, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio. I'm going to get it on many more stations, but Spreaker is the one where I interact with the listeners. So if you would follow the show on Spreaker.com, I would greatly appreciate it. So we're going to go into the last commercial break of the night, but we'll get into more questions, stories, experiences, and your calls right after this commercial break. We'll be right back. During the week of November 12th through the 16th, Talk in the Night will honor all those that served in the military by having all the show's guests as veterans, Monday through Thursday, and with a special open line Friday where veterans can call in and share anything. Just for Talk in the Night listeners, when you go to Past Life Regression and Progression.com and mention Talk in the Night at purchase, you will receive 50% off of the books. Regular price $20 down to $10 plus mailing costs. Just go to Past Life Regression and Progression.com or click on the banner ad on the Talk in the Night website. On Friday night, one lucky listener will have a chance to win a copy of Antichrist, the Clone Image of Jesus Christ by Dr. Joye Pugh, the new updated 2017 edition. The winner must call into the show to win the book during the live open line broadcast.
Dark night, all alone, I hear noises, but no one's home, so I walk out of my bedroom, looking around, don't know what to find, I'm freaking out, can't sleep anymore, gotta watch out. I hear knocks at the door, maybe it's paranormal activity, or am I just...
To call into the show, Skype Talk in the Night, or by phone at 817-717-5561. And now back to Talk in the Night with more of your open line phone calls. Okay, and we are back with Friday night open lines where you, the listeners, can call and share your stories, experiences, or questions. And, of course, we gave away the books in this show, both of them. So thank you. And, of course, I got a bad review on Talk of the Night, but hey, that's their opinion and everything like that. I'm not going to give up and everything like that. You might have given up on what you do, but this is something I love to do, and it's going to take time to get to the point where I want to be. But the moment I give up, I have nothing to strive for. I am success driven. I want to succeed. And if nobody tries and fails, then they're going to not try at all. And I haven't hit the point where I feel I failed, because I will continue to try and help others. That's what I do. That's what I do for the show. If you don't like it, you don't have to tune in. That's your opinion. That's your prerogative, what you want to do. But this is what I do. This is the show that I do, and I'm not going to let anybody's opinion sway my decision to do this show. I will keep doing this show as long as I can do the show. Now, again, don't let anybody's opinion sway your thought, your belief system, how you want to do things, how you're doing things. Take that and learn from it rather than let it affect you. So, again, Friday night open lines. If you want to call into the show, share your stories, experiences, or questions, call in and we will get you on the air. Now, let's get into some more questions here. And if you want to call into the show, feel free to do so. Let's find a good show or question here. All right, so let's see, where was I? Oh, right there. So I got so many websites open and links open and everything like that it's hard to pay attention to everything. So, and of course, you can hear my voice going. It's been a long week. The cold weather, it was really cold here in North Texas, so it's affecting my vocal cords a little bit, but I'm still here. I'm still doing the show. So let's find a good question. Again, if you want to call into the show, the number to call in is by Skype at Talk of the Night or by phone at 817-717-5561. Also, another thing that I haven't mentioned for Friday night open lines in a while, since the last time I did the show before I made the move to Texas, is if you're going to be rude on the call, you get hung up on. Simple as that. I'm not going to let anybody belittle me or the listeners or any other callers. So, I mean, you're welcome to state your opinion, but the moment you get rude about it, you get disconnected from the call. Simple as that. So, let's see, because I don't have a call screener yet, but once I do, then they'll take care of it. But until then, I do all the call screening, so it's live when you come on the air. I have no way of knowing who's calling or anything like that. So let's find a good question here. And of course, I don't prepare my Friday night open lines to be looking for questions throughout the night, because I'm hoping to promote my show enough to where people are going to call in and everything like that. Now, Nicole mentioned something about a couple of lucid dreams where she was, she saw this, or she had these dreams and her dog was barking, but her dog was not in the room. And she was wondering if that was something there, or if the dog was able to see her spirit in an out-of-body experience or something like that. Again, I'm not there, so I can't tell you for certain, but I believe that what you were seeing, or at least the dog was seeing, was a spirit that was inside the home. But you experiencing the lucid dream, you actually were in that period of REM sleep, which is in between deep sleep and being awake. And so you were able to actually hear the dog. Again, I don't know what you were experiencing at the time. I can only offer my opinion on what I know and how long I've been in the field. But as far as what I can see, as far as what the spirits are telling me, is that there was a spirit there, and it was not because of the lucid dream. So let's get into a question here. If you got a question or a story or experience, feel free to call into the show and everything like that. I'm not going to let anybody's opinion sway me or affect me. It's just not going to happen. I continue to do this show because I love doing this show, whether you think I'm good or not. I love doing this. I love helping people, and especially I love having guests on the show to talk about different topics during the week. Now, Fridays might be bad because I'm not getting really the callers to call in, but you have to understand, I work a full-time job Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day, come home, relax a little bit, eat, and then come on the air for 2 hours before going to bed and repeating over and over each week. Now, the weekends, I don't get much time. A lot of times I'm spending that time relaxing, recovering from the week. But I try to get some work done in the weekend time for the show. But for somebody to say, give it up, you obviously never really gave it a try. You never tried. And I'm not going to let it affect me. That's your opinion. And I started to let it get to me, but I'm not going to let it get to me because that's their opinion. Simple as that. I'm going to leave it at that. So let's see, what do we have here? And of course, before we get into the next question, I want to mention next week is all about United States veterans and everything like that. And everything like that. And of course, the person's going to comment again. Again, your opinion. If you don't like the show, tune off. Simple as that. I do have the listeners. It's just that I don't have the callers, and I will get there. So if you don't like the show, turn off the show. Don't listen. Simple as that. If I don't like a show, I turn it off. I don't listen to it. So, your opinion is not going to affect me and how I do the show or anything like that. Now, let's talk about the Amityville house. Do you believe the story about the Amityville house being haunted? There are people that do believe that it is haunted, that it has that darker side to it. And I've seen homes in the time that I've been doing investigations in the 27 years. And yes, there might have been something to it, but not to the point where it was portrayed in the movie. Of course, the movie was portrayed to be this dark entity, this darkness about the home that caused this guy to kill his family. I don't think it was actually that dark. And there have been people that live there and stayed there, investigated, and some people have had stuff happen, some people haven't. It's just, again, with the fear, if you let that fear get to you, you're going to let it affect you. And if you go into a location like I do with no fear, which is very hard to do, but it can be done, you're going to have less likely something happen to you. Again, once again, my opinion, but it's up to you to make your own decisions, whether you want to believe what I'm saying or not. I only put this information out there so you can open your horizons to think outside the box, if you will. And don't believe what you're told, but think for yourself. Simple as that. So, again, next week we're going to be talking with veterans, and I'm going to go to the show's website here, and I got to update it a little more as far as what next week's shows are, because I'm still waiting on information from the guest. But next week, on Monday night, we're going to be talking with two guests. One is a real estate agent. The other is a mortgage lender. And we're going to talk about VA home loans. Then on Tuesday, we're going to be joined by my guest, Eva Fulton, as we talk about North Texas Veterans Plus Women's Veterans of America, or Women Veterans of America. Talk about the struggles that the women veterans go through, same as the men, but most of the struggles we hear about veterans are from the men, but the women go through it just the same. Then Wednesday night, we're going to be talking with a former Marine and business owner, and we're going to probably talk about, I'm waiting for all the details from her. I just haven't had a chance to get all the details from her. But we're going to talk about possibly how to start your own business as a veteran, get out there, get things going, how to boost your product and everything like that. So we're going to talk about that. Then Thursday, we're going to be possibly because my Thursday guest could not make it, so I had to rush to get a Thursday guest, and I should know by tomorrow whether we're going to get them on the show or not. But they are a part of the Veterans Party of Minnesota, a political party trying to get veterans into political positions so we can help people that are veterans and people understand what us veterans go through in the service and what we can bring to the table as far as our discipline, our dedication, and stuff like that, because people out in the civilian world do not understand that we're focused on attention to detail, and we strive to complete our mission at all costs. And sometimes that doesn't kind of go into our civilian life once we leave the military. So again, this is what next week is about, sharing the experiences of veterans. This is by veterans, for veterans, but the show is not just open to just veterans. People of all walks of life can tune in and learn about what veterans go through, or what we can do to help veterans if we're not veterans ourselves. So that's what we got coming up next week. And of course, next Friday is, again, open lines, but a veterans edition where the veterans can call in, share their stories about their time in the service, if they want to share that, or share what they did after the military to make that transition. Like me, I spent 3 months in a homeless shelter for veterans when I moved to Texas, because I did not plan out everything. Because when veterans transition from the military to civilian life, we're not given a lot of that detail. We have to search it out ourselves and help each other. And me and a friend of mine who is also a veteran, we help each other out. And that's what vets helping vets is all about. Of course, I don't have that organization on the show next week, but that's what I'm talking about next week, where veterans are helping veterans, and hopefully the civilian world will help the veterans too. So we got 8 minutes left in the show. Once again, the phone lines are open. If you want to call in, call-in numbers are Talking the Night on Skype and by phone at 817-717-5561. Let's see. Let's get into a question about, let's see. I know it's here somewhere. Oh, okay, there it is. It says, okay, again, somebody's opinion on that, but okay, are fortune tellers real? Now, what you see in like these carnivals of these fortune tellers, some might have that ability to predict the future, but a lot of them that you see at state fairs, carnivals, stuff like that, they are not the real deal. It's for entertainment purposes only. But just like psychics, we're never ever going to be 100% right. It just ain't going to happen, because if we were 100% right, we would be winning the lottery every single time, and nobody else would have a chance. But with all the good psychics out there, we would probably only win a couple $100. So, especially since everybody has this ability to see and communicate with spirits, it's just a matter of unlocking that ability. But if everybody did that, I don't think we would, even once it got up to, I think the Powerball's highest was $1.6 billion. Well, maybe everybody would win $1 out of that if everybody opened up their third eye and tried to win lotto. So no psychic is ever going to be 100% right. All right. So I'm going to answer one more question here. And then we're going to end the show for the night. Let's see. Of course, I'm not going to get into a whole thing of government, whether Democrats are bad or Republicans are bad or nothing like that, because that is my opinion. I'm not going to get into political things because that can cause a huge argument. I'm not going to get into that. Or at least I'm not going to give my opinion on it. And of course, I'm starting to lose my voice, so all right, so let's get into this one here, and then we're going to end the show. Is astral projection demonic? And that's just the gist of the question. And, of course, I don't think astral projection is demonic in any way. Now, I'll give you an example. Like, I've had these people that I call Bible thumpers that believe everything they were told about the Bible, which they were told just excerpts of what is in the Bible, like we were talking with my guest last night. And, of course, they're not going to open their minds to other possibilities. They're not going to open their horizons to, okay, this can happen. Or what if it did happen? Something like that. But again, somebody was told that this is bad. Like, I've had people say that because I'm a paranormal investigator, that they say that ghosts and spirits and stuff are not real. And I come back at them like, okay, well, doesn't the Bible say that Jesus was the Holy Spirit and Holy Ghost? There's your spirit and ghost. Or I've had people like that say that because I practice witchcraft and I'm Wiccan, I am a devil worshiper. Well, again, I tell them, have you read up on Wicca, what it's about? We don't believe in the devil. And I told my guest that last night. And she had no problem with me saying that I am Wiccan, even though she was of the Christian faith. Because just like me, she wants to open her horizons to experience different things and think outside the box is what I'm saying. And if we close ourselves in that box, that's all we're going to know about is what's inside that box. So, with that said, we are at the end of the show. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And again, I'm not going to let any bad comments get to me because this is what I love to do. And it's going to take time to get there, but I will get there. So until next week, when we have the All Veterans Week on the show, I shall see you on the dark side. Good night from Talking the Night.